What's going on, everyone? So there's been a lot of talk about the Washington Wizards and the Lakers basically keeping an eye on Washington and what they're going to do. They had 17 players on their roster, and the only guy that is on a non-guaranteed is Justin Champagnie, who is the brother of Julian Champagnie on the San Antonio Spurs. But he's a younger guy, right? He's a guy that you'd imagine that they want to kind of keep around, let him grow, develop. So it's kind of like, okay, we'll keep an eye on some of the veteran guys. Now, the reason I say they had 17 guys on the roster is because they just signed somebody else. So now they have 18 guys on the roster. You may have seen reports that they signed 2 guys, but the center they signed to a 2-way contract. They brought in Marvin Bagley III, which is unfortunate because now the Lakers can't have the top 3 picks in the 2018 draft. So what it would have been nice, you would have had Ayton, Bagley, and then Luka Doncic. That would have been kind of interesting. But the Washington Wizards brought Bagley back. So they now have 18 guys on the roster. Which is now another guy that they're going to have to waive. And it wasn't like some training camp deal or anything like that. No, it was an actual 1-year contract. So, something to kind of keep an eye and monitor. Like the biggest name right now for the Washington as far as buyouts go is Marcus Smart. There's some talks about maybe a Chris Middleton. Obviously, they have CJ McCollum. So couple options there. I mean, they could literally waive all 3 guys or buy out all 3 guys, get off all 3 of those guys' contracts, and then they could go and end up shopping to various vets. They're not going to be able to trade those guys more likely than not just because of their contracts, right? Even Marcus Smart has like the smallest contract out of them, and he's $21 million. Now, there are kind of talks about the Lakers maybe trading for Marcus Smart simply on the fact that like Washington could kind of solve several issues, right? So like you could go to Washington and be like, hey, you're going to buy out Marcus Smart. Instead of buying out Marcus Smart, right? Buy out, Gabe Vincent and Maxi Kleber, or see if maybe you can flip those guys and, get a second or something. Like maybe there's a veteran team that'd be willing to give you a second for, Gabe Vincent or Maxi, right? You take those 2 guys, see if you can go flip them. It's easier to trade 2 $11 million guys than a $20 million guy, right? Because most teams, especially contending teams, don't really have $20 million in salary to send out. Don't really have $20 million salary to trade and pick up a guy like Marcus Smart. So you'd have to find a team that needs Marcus Smart. You'd, on top of that, need to find a team that's willing to pony up whatever it is to go get him player-wise and contract-wise, even if they're willing to make just like a swap players. But again, like, it has to make sense for Washington. It's like, yeah, I could just trade you Marcus Smart, but like, what do we get out of it? But with the Lakers situation, it's like, hey, take these 2-3 guys from us, right? Clear off some roster spots for us, clear off some salary for us. Waiving, buying out $20 million is buying out $20 million regardless. But would you rather just buy out Marcus Smart and we sign him for nothing, or would you rather trade him to us, clear some roster spots, and you get a second round pick or a couple pick swaps or something? Even if the pick swaps don't ever become anything, it's still better than nothing if you were just to waive him. And some people might be thinking, like, why would the Lakers want to trade for a $20 million Marcus Smart? Again, it's not just for the singular player, right? I've talked about it before. Don't look at it through a keyhole. Take a step back, look at the entire picture. You're not just trading for Marcus Smart. You're trading for Marcus Smart, still maintaining the flexibility of having $20 million in expiring contracts that you can maybe go pony up at the trade deadline or something like that. You also free up potentially 2 roster spots that now you can go sign, say, a Bradley Beal, or if they end up waiving a Chris Middleton or something like that, you can now go sign one, if not both of those guys, and now you clear off the money in order to do that in the same breath. So you kind of solve everything all in one swoop, right? So it's not just like, again, the keyhole of like, oh, you're trading for Marcus Smart. Maybe you even kind of do a spit and a handshake thing where it's like, hey, waive Chris Middleton too, and we'll sign Middleton for that and do us a favor type thing. We'll see. But Washington, one way or another, they're going to have to get off of some guys. Unless they're doing a trade themselves, right? Maybe they're kind of taking on a long-term contract, which is something they could do, right? They have several guys under expiring contracts. They could maybe go find a team that wants to get out. Like, hey, we have this guy that's making 30 million that we want to get off of, right? And it's like, hey, give us a first. We can give you some expiring contracts, boom. And you kind of clear two of those guys off. So now you're just waving Marcus Smart and being done. Because Marcus Smart, like I said, is the name that keeps popping up as the most likely. Now, again, several of those guys on the Wizards make a ton of sense for Lakers. Marcus Smart, I would love to have. I wouldn't want to necessarily trade for his 20 million, and I don't mean in the sense of what I just broke down. I'm talking about just like a normal trade. I'm not talking about, all the other things that come with it. I wouldn't want to necessarily trade for him. I wouldn't want to necessarily trade for Chris Middleton or anything like that. CJ McCollum, I wouldn't want regardless. I just don't think that. I think that's kind of the last thing we need, right? Marcus Smart at least still is a pit bull. He's still strong. He's still physical. He's still got the wingspan. He still could have an impact. Obviously, there's injury concerns for guys like Marcus Smart, for guys like Chris Middleton. But again, if you're getting them on a vet minimum contract, if you're getting them on deals where these guys are essentially free and they're also just rotation guys rather than key pieces, that's the difference, right? Like, bringing in Marcus Smart to be your starting point guard or two, it's probably not best for a team anymore. But Marcus Smart being kind of that pit bull off the bench that you deploy and just have him be out there and in key spots and key moments where it's like, hey, we need a defensive stop or a defensive stance, right? Boom, now you have that. Same thing with like a Chris Middleton. Yeah, Chris Middleton at this stage probably isn't best in your starting unit anymore. He's been dealing with injury issues and stuff. But him in your rotation off the bench, although like if the Lakers could go get like an Andrew Wiggins or something like that, I don't hate the idea of having like Middleton at the 2 or Wiggins at the 2 and Middleton at the 3, like kind of having those two just for the defense and switchability. Right, but realistically, you're probably bringing those guys in to, again, be rotation players off the bench that you're looking to kind of plug in and play a role. And Washington, like there's several teams that may end up buying guys out, like Chicago, for example, is a team that, they may buy out Nikola Vucevic. They're still kind of trying to shop and see if they can get off of him. But if they can't, there's talks about, hey, they might end up, kind of letting him go so that way he can go to a contender or something like that. That could be something like where Lakers could maybe land, their backup center. They got the starting center off of a buyout. Why not get the backup off of a buyout, right? So like that could be something to kind of keep an eye on. You never know some of these other teams and some of these like random teams that could end up, like, oh, we're just going to buy out this guy or waive this guy. Obviously, Bradley Beal's the big name on the market and everyone's kind of just seeming to waiting around for Bradley Beal, which I think is really odd because like even that situation, it was like, hey, we're going to get a decision in 48 hours. And that was like a week ago, right? Like a lot happens. It's like, dude, like what is going on? It'd be nice to kind of know, right? Like, are you getting Bradley Beal? Because if you get Bradley Beal, some people might look at it as like, oh, well, you don't need Marcus Smart anymore. I disagree. I think you still want Marcus Smart. I think he's a guy that you could have both. Yeah, Marcus Smart be your backup point guard, kind of defensive point of attack, and have Bradley Beal kind of be your 2 guard off the bench. Just something to kind of keep in mind. But again, I want to see the Lakers continue to be aggressive. I want to see the Lakers start to be aggressive, at least in the trade front. But in the buyout market, right, I want to see them kind of continue to be aggressive. Free agency in general, right? Like I talked about, like DeAnthony Melton. Right? Like, why are you waiting around? Obviously, you got to do a consolidation trade and stuff like that. But like, if you can, like, go get him. A Malcolm Brogdon, whatever. Like, because what's going to happen is Bradley Beal's going to get bought out. And if Bradley Beal gets bought out, one of these teams are going to land him. Maybe it's the Lakers, right? But whoever doesn't, all of those other teams that are interested in Bradley Beal are all now going to pivot to guys like Marcus Smart, like DeAnthony Melton, like Malcolm Brogdon, right? Like they're all going to be trying to go get those guys. So now you just have more competition. Now you're just trying to convince them to come to you instead of them, where it's like right now everyone's tied up with Bradley Beal. Come swoop in, get a DeAnthony Melton. Go get a Malcolm Brogdon. If Marcus Smart does become available, go get him too, right? Like Lakers need just perimeter. I mean, obviously I don't want a team full of guards, but like, again, you're probably trading Gabe Vincent at some point, right? And then if you end up landing, say, a Malcolm Brogdon, Right, he's like 6'4", 6'5". He's slot in at either guard position. He plays big. He's got the wingspan. He could slot in and play the three at the time. So you could still have Marcus Smart, a Malcolm Brogdon, a Bradley Beal. Like I don't want to see the Lakers wait around and end up missing out. Is my point. Right? I don't want to see the Lakers kind of let's wait and see. Like I'm all for being patient. I preach patience a lot on this channel. Right, but the patience has to pay off. And my concern is like Bradley Beal goes to Milwaukee. Let's say. And then DeAnthony Melton goes to the Warriors. And then Malcolm Brogdon and Marcus Smart are the only two that are available left. And you still have like 5 teams that are all trying to get him. And then what happens if Malcolm Brogdon ends up going to, a Pacers team or something like that? It's just like, okay, well now we're kind of down to Marcus Smart. What if Marcus Smart is like, I don't want to be a Laker, right? Like, it's just those kind of things could be, they could bite you in the butt potentially. Right, but I want to keep an eye on Washington. Washington keeps adding players, keep adding them, right? Because the more players they add, the more guys that they're going to have to buy out. And they're not going to buy out the young guys. They're not going to buy out, some of their young players. They're going to buy out the veteran guys. Malcolm Brogdon or Marcus Smart, there we go, and Chris Middleton. Like those are the kind of guys that are going to end up getting bought out, where the Lakers can kind of come in, swoop in, and maybe land one of those guys. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.